Come on in. What's up? Sit down. Yeah. What's your name? Okay. My name's Dr. Andrew Michaels and Fist Pump. Happy to meet you. Don't worry. I'm here to help you. So, you want a drink? Which one? You can pick. Steel Reserve. I know you got some problems, and I know you came here to see me as your life coach. I just want you to know this Steel Reserve high gravity, oh, it's going to tear your head completely off. Here you go. Just go ahead and take that one. Crack it on camera. Oh, such sweet nectar. Oop, frozen. Great. Spilling it all over my floor. Got it too cold. It's all froze. Now I'm wearing it. Labels out. Good thing I brought myself a couple of tissues. That was nasty. What do you expect from an amateur, huh? First time life coaching, offer you a beer, foam running down my leg, all over my new shirt. Not much of a coach, huh? Don't even know how to handle a can of beer. You want some pistachios? Love these things. They're really good. Love the sounds they make. Just kind of, dig into them. Just love these things. Can't eat too many. So what's the problem? What brought you here? Okay. I've heard that poem before. It's not easy. Coming out to your family about anything, let alone your problem. But after all, I am your life coach, so I suppose I have to come up with something, huh? Oh my gosh. What a fine beverage. What a fine beverage. Okay. So the subject today is coming out to your family. Obviously, you're worried about disappointing them. Okay. Here's the funny thing. You can come out to your family about a lot of things. Let's just take one little tiny thing, for instance. Religion. Some people, if they come out to their family as a different religion, they just want to switch churches. They're on the outs. Let alone if they decide that religion just isn't for them and they want to be an atheist or even an agnostic, somewhere in the middle. They face a lot of rejection. I have found that families can even reject you over political things. Not even switching political parties. Just the fact that you're on the opposite side of a political issue, let alone changing political parties. There's the old adage, never discuss politics or religion in the workplace or at family gatherings, and you will do so much better in life. So some life coach, I'm telling you, don't bother telling them. At the end of the day, let's take the whole religion thing. Now, supposedly, there's this big... Now, this is all about coming out to your family. So, you ask for my advice, I'm giving it. So, don't get angry at me if you don't like what I say. Let's take religion, for instance. You're sitting around your whole life listening to all this religious stuff, and you think Sky Daddy's going to come down and save you, or zap the whole world, or whatever the hell you think. Even though there's people who have been hearing this crap their whole life and nothing ever happens, and the world just keeps on turning, and you get frustrated with it. Let's take one little thing out of that. Have you ever noticed that it's your personal relationship between you and this deity? Why do you have to confess who you are to others if it's a personal relationship between you and this higher being? And aren't you going to be judged by this higher being in the afterlife? So if you choose not to follow a higher being, why do you have to confess it to any earthly being? So they can judge you? What good's it going to come out of you even telling them? If you're not comfortable with attending religious services, you could just tell them you have to work, kids are sick, or that maybe you don't feel comfortable attending church for various religious reasons, let alone belief issues. And I guess what I'm getting at is if you study anything to do with any religion, it's a personal conviction in your heart. Then it's really nobody's business what you think or what you believe in or how you worship. What if you want to be a devout person in religion and your family is atheistic or non-religious? Once again, why do you have to proselytize to your family? You're worried about them being saved. You're worried about them going on to an afterlife with you. They've already made their personal choices in life. So the last thing they want or need or probably desire is you preaching to them. So instead of having bad blood between you and your family, maybe just keep it to yourself and live by example. If you want them to follow in your religious path, show them. What somebody in your religion does. Be an example over demanding an audience over it, and you'll be so much better off. I know a lot of people, this is going to get me in trouble, I know a lot of people who, one of the first things you learn about them is their religious affinity or affiliation. They wear their Christianity or their religion. It's not always Christians. It could be people of Muslim faith, or I just don't know a lot of Muslims, but I do know some. And I've tended to see that with a lot of people, especially fundamentalists, that they wear their religion out on their sleeve. One of the first things you discover about the person is their religious affiliation, where they go to church, etc., and how involved they are in it. It's all good. That's fine. That's what the path they chose. I always noticed if you have to, in life, tell somebody you're a Christian, if you have to tell somebody you're a Muslim, there's a reason they have to tell you. So be prepared. It's kind of like the old saying, if you have to tell somebody the joke is funny, it's not funny. So, if you have to tell somebody you're a religious person and preach to them at lunchtime every day, it's probably not going to work out real well for you. Probably don't like the whole pistachio thing. I love pistachios. I get mine from Heggy's. Love pistachios. So good. I don't know. I kind of like this life coaching thing. How do you feel about it? I just give my opinion and blurt a bunch of stupid stuff out. Piss everybody off equally. Don't leave anybody out, like you in the back. So, okay, let's get to some real good coming out parties. Okay, so you think you're one sex or another, and you decide to come out. Gay, or bi, or curious, or trans. And your family may or may not be. When I eat, my eye waters real bad. I'm not over that problem I had a couple years ago, and you guys have all been so nice to me about my facial issues. I really want to thank you for. It doesn't bother me to talk about it or be open about it because I want you to know I did not take a stroke. It was a nerve condition. These cranial nerve exams everybody does in these ASMR videos. Cranial nerve grows up through your neck, up your side of your face, like this, but they're not connected. They're separate. My cranial nerve on this side of my face got broken by either a virus or, a couple other things, a swelling in the nerve, and it broke. And when it broke, I lost all nerve endings in my face, and the muscles didn't know how to act. They didn't know how to carry on. And it was really, really, it's usually a 2 to 3 month repair cycle. When the swelling goes down, the face comes right back. Well, mine broke, mine severed, and the nerve grows back like a millimeter or two a day. So I still don't have nerves up here and around my eye, and my eye doesn't blink the way it should. And I don't like to do videos where I eat or drink because I do this a lot when I drink. Watch. See? It's almost impossible to keep my eye open when I drink. And when I eat, it's not so bad. I've gotten better. See, I'm chewing with my eye open, but I'm consciously trying to tell it to, because if I don't, it starts squinting like Popeye. I should do Popeye ASMR. That would be pretty cool, huh? It's funny how I got sidetracked. Well, anyway, it's been like a couple years, and I may have to deal with this for like the next 5 or 6, but I know my audience that stuck with me, they don't care. I got other problems besides that. Coming up with new ideas like being a life coach. You know, doing something exciting, talking about real things, offending everybody, all at the same time. You know, that takes a lot of effort. It really does. I remember this Christian, real opinionated little SOB prick. He wore his Christianity out on his sleeve, really pissed me off. We called him the meddler. The meddler. I hope somebody's watching right now. He was a real prick, but I kind of liked him. He wasn't so bad. He was a good family man. He took care of his kids and wife. I admired that. But he was into this hardcore evangelical BS. It's hard not to swear. And he gave me some of the best advice I ever had. I don't take it, of course, but it always sticks in my mind. I've never forgotten him saying this. He said there's a high price to be paid for being outspoken. I'm going to move this over here so your other ear gets it. And he was right. You like that in the other ear? I'm using a binaural microphone. Sexy. But there's a high price to be paid for being outspoken. And whenever I say something I know is absolutely probably not a good idea, I think about that. So I don't want any of you out there to think I do this because I think I'm holier than thou or better than everybody else or whatever. Or I think my poo-poo smells like cotton candy coming out my rear. I know I'm wrong sometimes. I know I'm opinionated. I know I shouldn't say certain things. So why do you do it? Because right now there's some kid watching my video who just got thrown out of his house by his parents with hardly any money to his name, clothes on his back, and any property or belongings. And they got thrown out in the street by a good, wholesome, upstanding, moral, perfect little family. They choose to throw that person out on the street because that kid deluded themselves into thinking they could come out to their family about something. And it doesn't have to be sexuality. It doesn't have to be gender dysmorphia. Maybe it's politics. Maybe it's your family don't want you dating somebody. And they came out with it. And right now they're on the street, on their cell phone. And they're looking at me. And I look a lot like their dad. And I probably sound a lot like their dad. They need to hear from someone like me who raised his 3 kids to be the best person they could be. And they need to know that not everybody that looks like me is a cold-hearted, egotistical, moral thug like the people that just threw them out on the street. The people that they thought loved them. The people they thought were their family. And that's why I do this. They need to hear a voice of reason that says, look, if you want to come out in this world, in this climate right now, to your family, if you can't find somebody you can trust, listen to me. If you don't know how your family's going to react, listen to me. Wait until you're more established. I'm not telling you to hide who you are, or lie to yourself, or deceive anybody in your life. I'm just saying, if you don't know how your family's going to react, and you don't have the means and the income to take care of yourself, then you need to protect yourself. And if that means being true to yourself, but hiding your true self from the world around you, it's not that you're a coward. It's not. You're not a coward. And it doesn't mean you're not true to who you are. It doesn't mean you're a liar. And it doesn't mean you're a fraud. In the climate that is currently happening in this country, specifically the United States of America, the land of the home of the free and land of the brave and home of the free. Some have decided in power that they are more free than others. And you protecting yourself and your identity and the truth about you at this moment in time is more important. It's a safety issue. It's a safety concern. I don't want you to think for 1 second that anybody in the community that you're a part of, whether you've come out to the community or not, will think you're a coward. If they are, they're not a friend. They're no better than the people that you come out to that reject you. If you tell people I have to live my life a certain way for my own safety, people that respect that and understand that are your lifeline. They're going to be your friends. They're going to help you. Those who do not accept that and play this political game where, you're a coward or you're a liar or you're deceptive or whatever they want to put on you to make you feel like less than or even worse than you feel already over the situation, they are not your friend any more than the people who reject you. There is a time and there's a place to be politically motivated, and there's a time and a place to stand your ground. Right now, the safety of some of these young people in the world that need to hear this, to me, is more important than political correctness or political gains or getting clout, personal clout or internet clout. My best advice is to be very careful. If you have someone you can come out to a one-on-one in a private situation that you can trust, they can give you a little bit of insight. See, like a lot of times, like you think you've worked out an issue in your life and you think you've got it all figured out and you're happy with the decisions you've made. You're just so happy that you've come to an understanding in your own mind. you're the only one that feels that way. Okay? It's going to take everybody a little bit more time to catch up. Excuse me. You like high gravity? Steel reserve? Yeah. Think about think about the timeline of how long you have dealt with this personal issue. This wrestling match inside your psyche, inside your mind, where you've tried to, decide who you are in the world and where your place is in it and how you fit in. Okay? This is a long journey. This was not something you woke up one morning and had an epiphany. Oh my God, I am this. Now, everybody's different, so maybe in your case, there was an awakening. But you know what I'm talking about. You have this epiphany, this thought, this feeling that you can't keep going this direction. Maybe it's bullying. Maybe you're bullying a certain segment of the population and you feel guilty about it. And you don't think it's okay to talk badly about these people, but you're afraid to say, like, to your family and friends, I don't want to be that person anymore. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's morally okay to do these things that we're doing or have these feelings. I feel differently. And that's okay. You can feel differently. It's what being a human being is all about. You've wrestled with this for a long time. You walk into a room and you drop a bomb. They call it coming out because it's usually a bomb. It's not a little thing like, I think I should vote for the school levy. I know all of my family is voting against the school levy. I've decided I'm going to vote for the school levy. Now that might make your parents mad at you or your family mad at you. But these things shall pass. We're talking about a bomb. Mom and Dad, I am this. Mom and Dad, I believe this. Mom and Dad, I no longer want to be part of this group. I want to be part of this group. These are big life changes to a lot of people. To me, deciding I didn't want to be affiliated with any political party and be an independent voter was very easy for me. It just came natural to me. I felt rejected by both parties. I felt both parties, major parties, didn't represent me, and I felt all the little hippie, feel good, strange, QAnon, weirdo parties that are out there, from the Green Party to the Libertarians to whatever the hell they think they are. None of these parties represented me. They're just splinter groups with idiotic ideology, and I don't want to get into it. If you want to be a member of the Green Party or a member of the Libertarian Party, which that's fine. I'm not dissing that. I'm just saying, have fun. Leave me out of it. I care very much about certain issues, and I feel neither major political party cares about my issues. Oh, they give lip service to it, but they really don't care. And I really don't want to hear it. I have voted for the lesser of two evils in every election since the mid-1990s. And that's my opinion. And you know what? I'm welcome to it. A lot of people tell me I'm wrong. How great this president or that president was. Yeah, whatever. I don't want to hear it. I have only voted for one presidential candidate since Bill Clinton. that the guy has won. I've always been on the opposite side. The losing side of the vote until this last presidential election. That being said, I felt like I was not voting for anything more than the lesser of two evils. That's my opinion. And guess what? I'm welcome to it. So let's get back to coming out. I knew this young person. I will not say their gender. Their family are friends with my family to a degree. I have no interest in being friends with these people, but they're friends with my family. That's all I'll say. And they had a child who, around 17 or 18, for complicated reasons, was thrown out on the street. The main reason was the person came out trans. Now, I'm sure work ethic, school work, and other issues played into it. But still, I was with my family driving down the street and was told that such and such is on the street, thrown out of their house by their parents. Not a broken home, a mommy and a daddy, and they were both involved in it to a degree. So, they eventually, thankfully, worked it out. I consider this person a child. This child is not on the street anymore. And I'm glad for that. So the story has a happy ending. I told somebody in my family, I don't want those people at my house. I don't want anything to do with them. It's not a good attitude, but I just don't want to get into it with them. I'm not a perfect person. I've made some mistakes with my own kids. I tried very hard to raise them to be independent thinkers, to be the person they wanted to be. My 2 adult sons are both married and doing very well, working really hard, love their wives, they're doing great. See how I kind of inadvertently slipped in there that my kids are straight, heterosexual boys? Oh, good for me. And then I have a daughter who's dating a really nice young man, and he's really a good kid. I like him a lot. I always thought if I had a kid that had troubles or problems that I was a parent that they could come to, and I do think I am. My kids had other issues. I don't want to get into them for personal reasons. Well, I'll tell you one. This is a good one. Well, I'll just tell you that I didn't reject my kids. You don't reject them. You don't isolate them. You don't make them feel like they're less than. You help them. If the kid needs help, you get them some freaking help. And that's good advice. And I want you to know right now, if you're listening, before I go on a tangent and start rambling, if you're out there and you're scared and you need help and nobody's listening to you, nobody's talking to you, you feel rejected by your parents or your family, it's not always parents. Sometimes there's other people in control, grandmas, grandpas, aunts and uncles that can just devastate your relationship because I switched it over to this ear. You're not living up to some preconceived conception of what they think your family should be. And they're ruining your life. If you need help, or you need to talk to someone, get help. Don't wait. Ask someone who loves you or cares about you for help. Friend, family, somebody in your, some churches offer free counseling. It may not be the best counseling, but it's better than nothing sometimes. If you're in trouble, they will at least intercede for you. I'm not a big fan of going to a religious group for counseling, but if you're in trouble and you're desperate, they should help you until you can get something that isn't, it may not be the best advice, but there's hotlines out there. Due to YouTube's terms of service, I can't even talk about those hotlines. But there are hotlines out there to help you. There are free community services, and there are people out there that can help you connect with others with the same problem. Maybe you can get yourself into a support group or a social group that can help you. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with joining a group of like-minded people that are sharing your problem and can give you some guidance, maybe get you to think about things you haven't thought about yet, and steer you on the right path. I want to give you all some advice right now. I've heard this from many people. Don't blindly trust people that you don't know. As I said before, not everybody has your best interests at heart. And sometimes when you come out to your family, you are rejected. And you're out there in the world looking for anybody to not only accept you or understand you, but to be a welcoming person. And it's so easy to get misled. And it's so easy to get confused, thinking somebody is there to help you, and really they're there to maybe take advantage of the situation. So always keep your guard up and be careful. So on one hand, I'm telling you to go get help, get counseling, get therapy, see a doctor, see a professional. If you don't have any means, maybe you can get free counseling at, maybe one of the local community centers, or a local church might offer free counseling. And then on the other hand, I'm telling you, be careful that you're not misled or abused or somebody doesn't just, take advantage of you. You have to always keep your guard up in life. And it's not easy. It's not. It's so easy to get tricked or fooled by people. You think they're there to help you and they're not. So always keep your guard up. And coming out. So you come out about a political issue. Your family doesn't want to talk politics with you anymore. No big loss. You come out that you're changing religion. Still shouldn't stop you from attending special services with your mom and your grandma if you want. You just don't want that to be your regular form of worship. You're always welcome at church, aren't you? Aren't you? So that shouldn't really be a big change. You can still do, well, depending on which affiliation you are, you can still do all the services you used to do with your mom if you want, or she can attend ones with you. So it might be enlightening for both of you. And then it gets a little dicey. You start coming out, especially in this climate that we live in right now. Just changing political parties could be a death sentence, I think, in some families. Oh, I couldn't imagine that. I couldn't imagine going through that as a young person. Maybe you want to become a more conservative person than your family. Or maybe you believe in medical procedures that politically or religiously your family doesn't approve of or think are such a great idea. These things can put you at odds with your family no matter what side of the spectrum you're on, positive, negative, pro, or con. And it can just be such a horrible experience. And I can't even imagine somebody rejecting their child over something so petty. It's almost like your kid plays the guitar, but they've decided they like playing the piano and they reject them over it. And you're like, they're still a musician, they're still playing, they're still breathing, they're still alive, they're still a beautiful person standing right there, and you're hating on them because they switched from the instrument you prefer them to play. Aren't you a wonderful parent? I don't know. And then we get down to the really ugly ones. You've got something about you that makes you different. It's been bothering you for a long time. You think you're attracted to certain types of people, and you can't fight it anymore. You feel like you just want to scream and cry, and you just want to be who you are. And you feel more natural when you're the person you want to be. And you're so frightened because you don't want to get bullied or beat up or hurt. And it's funny. I don't think I've ever heard too many stories about people coming out and then I'm coming out with this, and then they run around and beat everybody up. It's usually the other way around. The person comes out with something and they end up getting beat up and tortured or rejected by their family and friends. It's like, I don't understand I do understand it. I'm old enough and I've been around long enough to understand why. But I don't understand why you would want to hurt someone that you love like that. You must have loved them at some point. They're your family, or they're your close friend. And now you're just rejecting them wholesale over something. I rejected a friend once over religion when I was a young man, and they told me their religious affiliation. I'm being honest, and I just didn't want to hear it. And I rejected them over it. I just didn't feel comfortable discussing it. I didn't want to hear about it. I didn't want to open my mind up to their ideas. I still don't like their religion to this day, but I've learned that you can't treat people like that. I learned that a long time ago, and I learned it when I did this to a friend because I really hurt them and they quit being my friend. They quit talking to me. I really hurt their feelings, and I felt so much betrayal. I felt like such a lowlife. And I think the reason I'm telling you that is because I did it. Not some amorphous parent that's not here to defend themselves, or some grandma that says, I'll never have one of those in my house. You're not welcome here. No, this is me. Somebody told me they're a religious affiliation, and then they tried to explain it to me. It's not like you think. It's not like that. And I just shut them down. I didn't give them a chance to explain. I was harsh. You gotta remember, I'm 18. I'm not making excuses, but yeah, I was a small town kid, and I was in high school, and I was stunned, and I rejected the person, and I have felt guilty for that stupid, petty, pathetic, ignorant behavior my entire life. I've never done that again. As far as I can remember, I've always said when somebody comes and tells me something, they're desperate to talk to me. I know they're going to confess something to me, and I'm like, oh my God, what now? And I just sit down and listen, because that's what they want. They just want somebody to freaking listen to them. And I think every single time to that person who just wanted to talk to me, and I was a jerk. And I felt so low, and I never had the courage to. I knew I was wrong. I knew I was wrong right after. I knew I screwed up. I felt like such a piece of garbage. And I lacked the courage or the moral fiber, strength to correct it. And I was so ashamed of myself. I remember going to prom, and this person was dancing with their date right near me, and I felt so bad. I just wanted to say, we were all having a great time. My prom was legendary. We got thrown out of our prom. They threw us out. Yeah, my prom got shut down, and we all got thrown out. True story. I'll tell you in a minute. And I just looked right over at them, and I'm not saying it's a girl or a guy. I don't want to do that. And I remember just saying, just go talk to them. Just go tell them, I was wrong. It doesn't matter what you are or what you believe. You're my friend, and it was wrong of me to do that. And I didn't do it, and I regretted that. I've always regretted it because I was raised with these stupid, backwards, barbaric religious beliefs in my mind that certain religions were cults and certain ones weren't. And it took me so many years to escape that. And that freedom came at a cost because I felt even more guilty years later when I realized I was defending nothing. I was defending this religion that didn't care if I defended it and didn't care if I was a member or not. And they say they care, but I don't really think they care. And it just made me think, look what you did to that person. And I've never let that go. I've always carried that. I've never forgiven myself for it. So I can't even imagine what it must be like for a parent to reject their child and throw them out on the street over something with hardly anything but their clothes on their back and the change in their pockets, and then expect everybody to think you're some great morality. The morality police showed up, and oh my God, thank God there's people like you in the world who still stand up and do what's right. Yeah. You guys know why I'm a little more sensitive to this now. It's really easy to lose people when you marginalize them and push them to the edges. You push somebody to the edge. When we say you push me to the end of my rope, I'm at the end of my rope here. Those things have merit because they're telling you I'm at the end of my rope. You're pushing me to the edge. Do you know where I'm going with this? You can push somebody too far. Is it really worth it? I don't think so. I don't think so. And I'll tell you something, when you lose a few people over something stupid, That's a hard row to hoe. And I've watched my children lose people. I've lost people, and you can't hug it away. You can't pray it away. You can't wish it away. You can't drink it away. You gotta own it. And I don't wish that on anyone. I really don't. I certainly don't wish it on you or your family. I only hope maybe some of my advice helped and helped you avoid some of this, some of the pitfalls in life. I don't know. Well, enough of the life coaching and enough of the blah, blah, blah. I'm going to tell you about the time we got thrown out of my prom. I went to the prom with a girl named Jenny. She was an art student like me. And my friend George and I double dated, and he took a girl named Desiree. It was 1986. We took my dad's silver four-door Impala. Very nice car. Really, really was a nice car. And we picked up our dates together. They were friends. And we went to Desiree's house to pick both girls up. The parents took pictures, asked questions like they do, and then we were off. We went to the prom, and we had dinner. We had an amazing live band. A live band, okay, it's very important. And our chaperone, the person in charge of the prom, was my art teacher. And I was very close to my art teacher. His name was Mr. Ridge, Jim Ridge, and he was a giant. I was taller than him, but to me, the man was bigger than life. He was like Bob Ross to me. And he was a Vietnam veteran and an ex-biker and just an all-around like cool Renaissance man. And I just thought the world of him. He was like a real father figure to me, and he helped me so much. He helped me get on the right path and not be an idiot because I wasn't getting the proper. I know my dad tried, but things weren't good at home, and I know my mom and dad tried, but I needed somebody else to kind of put their foot up my butt and kind of boot me in the ass and get me going. And Jim Ridge kind of didn't like mince words with me. He was a football coach too. He kind of pushed me a little bit. So an art teacher and a football coach, kind of a weird combo, but he was a great guy. Anyway, he's our advisor. We have a live band. We eat dinner and we start dancing. And all my friends are there, and we are just tearing it up. Senior prom, misbehaving, being bad, carrying on, just being awful. And probably should leave that part out. I had a really wild prom. We're in the middle of our prom, and the story starts filtering out that a kid was on his way to prom in a Camaro. His uncle brought a Camaro over, and this kid, I don't know if I should say his name, so we'll leave that out. He's on his way to pick up his date, and he flips the car, and it ejects him, and he kills himself. He gets killed. He gets killed in a car wreck. Now, I could have the story a little wrong. He might not. He might have hit somebody. He may not have got ejected. But the story I was told that night at the prom was that the car had flipped. He was ejected, and he died. He was killed on the way to prom. He had a date and everything, and he was racing to her house. His uncle or a family member thought they were doing the right thing, giving him this fancy souped-up Camaro back in '86. I mean, a souped-up Camaro. It might not have been souped up. Who knows? You know how these stories go. But this poor kid, he just was going to have the night of his life, and it ended up being a tragedy. and it just kind of spread through the prom, and it was like a wave, and the prom just got like, the band kept playing, but nobody was dancing. Everybody just kind of just like took the wind right out of us. We all knew that it was a small school. We all knew each other. We knew him. He was a junior. I was a senior. And he was in my German class. I knew him fairly well. I mean, I didn't know him, like, we weren't buddies, but I knew who he was and everything. It's the same thing. He just wasn't my circle of friends, but he wasn't a bad kid. He was a nice kid. And it was just like, whoo, just took the wind right out of the prom. And I don't remember how it started, but some of my friends got up and started dancing, saying, come on, let's dance. Nothing we can do about it. And I remember my friends going, you can't be sad about this, Mike. You got to get up. And pulled me off my chair, and we all went out and started dancing. I was always an empathic person, and things like this it's hard for me to switch gears like that. And my friends didn't let me down. They pulled me out on the dance floor, and we started dancing. And I started dancing with this really cute girl. Oh my God. She was so hot. I don't even want to go there. And, anyway, so I was a naughty boy. I was just, chasing girls. Okay, whatever. I'm a bad guy. I can't control it. Love the girls. So I'm dancing with this girl and really getting, interested in each other. And Moni Moni comes on. And I don't know if you remember Moni Moni. He kind of had a rebirth back in the mid 80s. And it was Moni Moni, Moni Moni. And then it is like right in the middle, you're supposed to yell, get laid, get laid. So we're in this reception hall of a Catholic church at our prom, and this is 1986, and we're screaming at the top of our lungs, get effed, as loud as we can. The first time they did it, we slid by. The second time, this a-hole went over to Mr. Ridge and said, hey, Mr. Ridge, do you hear what they're saying? I know who did it too. He's a real piece of work, real idiot. And Mr. Ridge walks up to the band. Now he's my mentor, and he walks up to the front where the band is, and everybody's yelling, Mr. Ridge is gonna dance with us. Get laid, get effed. And he just puts his hands up and goes, stop, stop the music. And he turns to us. He stops the band. He turns and goes, what are you guys doing? What do you think you're doing? That's it. Prom's over. Get out. Everybody, get out. Prom's over. That's it. You're done. I mean, the principal and the superintendent and all these people are over there, and Mr. Ridge is like, oh my God, you're going to get me fired here, you idiots. So he throws us all out, and he could have heard a pin drop. And my buddy is standing right beside me. One friend of mine, he's still friends with me to this day. He's standing there with holding his girlfriend's hand and his date's hand. And he goes, you could hear a pin drop. And he goes, party pooper. That was the only thing said. He was like, get out. Like he was just a bombastic, big lungs, big guy. And we all left. And I laughed so hard. We got thrown out of our prom. And I'm like, hey, this is the best prom ever. Recently, I got to see my prom date, Jenny. We got to see each other when we had a classmate. We lost a classmate. We decided to all get together and, have a couple beers and just reminisce and talk. And I got to see Jenny again. I keep in touch with her. We're friends. She's a sweet kid. She's my age. You still think of each other as back then in the old days. And I think about her from time to time as a friend. But how nice a girl she was, and nice person. And I'm really happy that I took her to prom, and that's the way it worked out. Because because of her, I met this other girl, and we may or may not have gotten a little frisky at the after prom. But that story is for next time. You have to wiggle it out of me by begging me in the comments below in my whether or not I'll tell it, that's another story. But if you thought I was a bad boy at the prom, you should have seen what I did at the after prom. Oh boy, that was one wild night. I got a lot of trouble for that. Anyway, that's enough for now. I hope my advice helped. I hope you enjoyed this session, and I hope you learned something. Remember, safety is paramount. Only talk to people you trust and know that they love you. And if you need help, get professional help. Okay? And that's my advice. All right? And there's nothing wrong with being who you are. If there is a God in heaven, and God made all of us, so if this is true, and the morality police have a problem with you, remind them that God made each and every one of us, so He made you too. And He made you just the way you are. And I love all of you just the way you are. And I accept all of you just the way you are. Because that's the way we need to be with each other. Rejecting somebody hurts, and it accomplishes nothing. At the end of the day, it accomplishes nothing. Okay? All right. Well, it was good seeing all of you today, and I'm going to have a really amazing video next. I'll be filming it this weekend. We'll see you soon, and until then, have a most blessed day. Bye-bye. And you know I love you guys. I really do. Bye-bye.